Most people think the sun rising is a cosmic guarantee, as reliable as your Amazon Prime delivery or your morning cup of Starbucks. But what if one day the universe just forgot? We assume light is the default state of existence, but research suggests we've been living in a very lucky, very temporary anomaly. Imagine waking up at 10 a.m. on a Tuesday. You feel that microshot of cortisol that usually pulls you out of sleep, prepping you for your 9 to 5. Your body says get up, but your eyes see nothing. It's not just a cloudy day in Seattle or a rainy morning in New York. It's pitch black. The kind of darkness that feels heavy, like it's pressing against your retinas. You check your phone and it says 10 a.m., but the world outside looks like the bottom of the ocean. This isn't a power outage, it's a fundamental break in reality. When the sun doesn't rise, your survival instincts don't just kick in, they scream. Most of us aren't prepared for the silence that follows when the city stops moving because the light simply vanished. I woke up 2 minutes before my alarm. My biological clock, trained by years of banking hours, said, "Wake up, Elias. It's time." I opened my eyes to absolute pitch black. Not the kind where you can eventually see the outline of your furniture. This was the void. I fumbled for my phone. 6:45 a.m. In November, the sun should be hitting my blinds in Sao Paulo or anywhere for that matter. I thought it was a storm, a massive cold front. I pulled the blinds, expecting gray rain and bending branches, but there was nothing. No buildings, no streetlights, no stars. Just a matte black wall. The silence was the worst part. A city of millions usually hums now. Now, nothing. I turned on the LED light. It worked, but it felt like lighting a match at the bottom of the Mariana Trench. I tried my phone, no signal. Instagram wouldn't refresh. The TV news anchor was terrified, her eyes darting as she read from a shaking paper about observatories in Hawaii and Chile going dark. Then the signal cut to a blue screen. Denial is a powerful tool. I told myself it was an eclipse. But as I went downstairs, the cold hit me. Not November cold. My neighbor was crying on the sidewalk. Her dog, a small pinscher, was growling at the shadows between the streetlights. The darkness wasn't just an absence of light. It looked viscous like tar. The dog ran into the dark and just stopped. No bark, no yelp, just silence. To understand why this is so terrifying, we have to look at how our bodies are hardwired. Our circadian rhythms are regulated by the suprachiasmatic nucleus in the brain. Some people notice that even a slight shift in light, like daylight savings, throws their whole week off. Now imagine that signal is gone entirely. Research suggests that without vitamin D and consistent light exposure, the human psyche begins to fray within hours, not days. We think of darkness as the absence of light, but in a cosmic sense, darkness is the rule and light is the exception. Our sun is a 4.6 billion-year-old nuclear furnace, but on the scale of the universe, it's a tiny candle in a massive freezing draft. If that candle flickers out, the industrial freezer cold of space starts to settle in immediately. In a typical US city, we rely on light pollution to feel safe. We're used to the orange glow of Target parking lots and the neon of gas stations. But when the atmosphere changes, that artificial light starts to look fragile. Some experts suggest that in a total blackout of the sun, the temperature could drop by 0 degrees Fahrenheit within the first 24 hours, eventually hitting -100. The silence we'd experience isn't just a lack of noise. It's the sound of the world's engines freezing. We've built our entire civilization, from our grocery supply chains to our electrical grids, on the assumption that the sun is a constant. By 10 a.m., the reality sets in. The power grid eventually flickers and dies. The building's generator can't keep up with the plummeting temperatures. You're left with a tactical flashlight and a kitchen knife, sitting in a bathroom because it's the only room without a window for the darkness to peer through. You hear sounds outside. Not cars, not people. Organic sounds, a giant sigh like a lung the size of a stadium exhaling. Something scrapes against the 10th floor concrete. We always thought the sun was our protector. But as the fire goes out, we realize we were just pre-humans huddling around a campfire in a very large, very hungry forest. The things that live in the dark have been waiting for the fire to die. While we can't fix the sun, survival in a low-light or no-light scenario depends on psychological and physical prep. Research suggests that maintaining a routine, even in the dark, may help regulate cortisol levels. If you find yourself in a situation where the day never starts, experts recommend focusing on internal heat conservation. Use masking tape to seal window cracks. This may help keep the biting cold at bay. Layering clothing is essential. Think wool and synthetic fibers rather than cotton. For lighting, LED sources are your best bet for longevity, but avoid directly at high-intensity beams in total darkness to protect your night vision. Most importantly, stay connected to others. The isolation of the dark is a mental health hurdle. Even if cellular networks fail, as they often do in high-stress atmospheric events, staying in a communal space may help reduce the primate brain panic response. Stock up on non-perishables that don't require heating, because when the grid goes, your microwave is just a fancy box. Preparing for the unthinkable isn't about being a doomsday prepper. It's about understanding that our comfort is a thin veil over a very cold, very dark reality. It's now noon. The sun should be at its zenith, but instead, the door to the room is creaking open. The flashlight beam hits a column of smoke and tar. It doesn't have a face, but it has a voice. It tells you that the light was just a temporary distraction. The cold is the truth. If this scenario keeps you up at night, or if you've ever felt that wrong feeling when the weather gets a bit too eerie, hit that follow button. We dive deep into the what-ifs of science and survival every week. Stay curious, stay prepared, and let us know in the comments. What's the first thing you'd grab if the sun didn't rise